Hello and welcome. You watching India First. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Big story coming in from West Asia where war clouds thicken over Israel. Information that's coming in. Big story. The United States is rushing additional warships and fighter jets to West Asia. The United States, in a rare development, has announced the deployment of a nuclear-powered submarine. France, Germany and Britain have urged Iran to refrain from attacking Israel. The information that's coming in from West Asia seems to indicate in the next 24 to 48 hours, there could be retaliatory strikes from Iran to Israel. In fact, US carrier strike group, it's rushing to the region from the US base at Guam. So USS Abraham Lincoln, the aircraft carrier strike group, has been ordered to redeploy to the region as quickly as possible. And USS Georgia, that's a nuclear-powered submarine with land attack missiles, that's also being deployed, and the US is announcing this to the world. It's a very clear signal that goes out to Iran and Iran backed powers. The world is urging peace. The world wants hostages to be released, ceasefire across the region, and resumption of supplies to Gaza. But even as we speak, the information is in the past 48 hours, Hezbollah has stepped up rocket attacks on northern Israel. Multiple rockets have been fired in the direction of northern Israel. The Iron Dome protection system was able to neutralize a number of rockets, but some have fallen, and we are told that Hezbollah in the past 48 hours has targeted an Israeli defense facility. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Shiv Arur for the latest on this major development that's taking place. Shiv, is a retaliatory strike. So it was in July that Ismail Haniyeh, the head of Hamas, was killed in Tehran. Is a retaliatory strike on the cards? Is an attack imminent?
You know, Gaurav, since the killing of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, last week, there's been a lot of uncertainty, a lot of tension, a lot of suspense over what most believe to be a certain response from Iran. In a limited way, it has already begun, from the Hezbollah, etc. Yes. But that direct sort of attack from Iranian soil hasn't happened just yet. There have only been indicators and signals as to when this will actually happen. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, remember, had initially made a statement saying it could happen anytime. Yes. But a conversation now between the defense ministers of Israel and the United States suggests that the attack could be a large-scale attack from Iran sometime this week. There are reports within Iran which talk about a days-long attack. So it may not be a single attack, but a days-long attack. But perhaps the greatest indication that there is going to be an escalation very, very soon, and even the United States feels so, is that they've moved another aircraft carrier battle group, yes, the Abraham Lincoln battle group, to the Persian Gulf. They're also moving USS Georgia, the cruise missile submarine armed with Tomahawk missiles, which have a range of in excess of 2,000 kilometers, to the Persian Gulf or the Mediterranean, which basically means they're putting Iran on notice. Deterrent effect is definitely there, but you and I were in Israel when two carrier battle groups, one in the Persian Gulf and one in the Mediterranean, were moved. But this, rare sort of move by the United States to quickly speed up the arrival of a carrier battle group and a formidably armed land attack submarine to the Persian Gulf means there must be alarm bells ringing about a possible attack. And like I said, the intelligence about this Iranian attack, whenever it happens this week or the next, talks about a days-long attack, not a single burst of fire or a few missiles landing over a day, but over many, many days. So it could be comprehensive. We'll have to wait and see when that actually happens.
Oh, absolutely. Shiv, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more on this. Hamas, very lukewarm to peace talks, may just decide it doesn't want to be there after Ismail Haniyeh was killed in Tehran. Hezbollah has already started targeting places in northern Israel. Houthi rebels are already talking about attacking Israel in a very big way. Iranian black militia in Iraq and in Syria also targeting Israel. So Israel being attacked from 5 different sides. War clouds are looming over Iran and Israel because Israel is also warning Iran, in case there is an attack, there would be a retaliatory strike, and a massive retaliatory strike depending on areas that have been hit in Israel. In case civilian areas are targeted in Israel, then there are civilian areas that will be in the line of fire even in Iran. And all of this after the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, or as Israel puts it, after the 7th of October attack in which 1,200 Israelis were killed, over 250 abducted, of whom 100 plus remain in the custody of Hamas somewhere between Khan Yunis and the Egyptian border. But Iran is also gearing up for its biggest punitive strikes that will have a deterrent effect, and the apprehension is this could escalate into a no-limits war. Now let's decode what a full-blown war between Iran and Israel, Iran backed by its rebels, and Israel could look like.
The war clouds between Israel and Iran have never been thicker. Iran, struck at its very heart by a mysterious Israeli weapon, is now bristling for revenge. Iran has attacked Israel before, but only through its proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen. But now, with Iran humiliated by the assassination of its state guest, the possibility of a direct response has never been higher. All efforts are currently on to defuse a spiraling situation. But a question that must be asked at this time is this: what would a full-fledged war between Israel and Iran involve? Theoretically, if any imminent Iranian response triggers a major spike in hostilities, the following would need to be kept in mind. An Israel-Iran war could involve the use of a wide array of advanced weapons, diverse combat strategies, and complex military exchanges. For starters, both Iran and Israel possess significant missile capabilities. Iran could deploy its ballistic and cruise missiles to target Israeli military bases, infrastructure and cities. Israel would likely respond with its own missile systems, such as the Jericho missiles, targeting Iranian military facilities and strategic assets. Israel's Air Force, known for its advanced technology and training, would likely conduct precision airstrikes against Iranian targets. This could include bombing Iranian nuclear facilities, military bases and command centers. Iran would use its air defense systems and air force to counter Israeli air attacks and launch its own airstrikes against Israeli targets. The naval aspect of the conflict could see confrontations in the Persian Gulf and the Mediterranean Sea. Israel might use its fast attack boats, submarines and anti-ship missiles to threaten Israeli shipping and naval assets. Israel's navy would engage in countermeasures and might target Iranian ports and naval facilities. While direct ground combat between Iranian and Israeli forces is unlikely due to geographical separation, both nations might deploy special forces to conduct sabotage, intelligence gathering and targeted strikes. Iran could also activate proxy ground forces in Syria and Lebanon to attack Israeli positions. Both countries have advanced cyber warfare capabilities. Israel might target Iranian critical infrastructure, such as power grids and communication networks. While Iran could attempt to disrupt Israeli military operations, and civilian infrastructure through cyber attacks. Both Iran and Israel have developed and deployed drones extensively. These unmanned aerial vehicles would be used for reconnaissance, surveillance and targeted strikes. Iran might deploy swarms of drones for attacks, while Israel would use its sophisticated UAVs for precision targeting and intelligence. Iran would rely on its air defense systems like the Russian-made S-300 and domestically produced systems to protect its airspace from Israeli attacks. Israel would utilize its multi-layered air defense systems, including Iron Dome, David Sling and Arrow, to intercept incoming Iranian missiles and rockets. Both sides would employ electronic warfare techniques to jam communications, radar and navigation systems. This could include disrupting GPS signals and radar systems to hinder enemy operations and protect their own assets. Iran would very likely continue to mobilize its proxy groups, such as Hezbollah, to launch attacks on Israel from neighboring countries like Lebanon and Syria. These groups could use rockets, missiles and guerrilla tactics against Israeli cities and military positions. Israel might conduct strategic bombing campaigns targeting Iran's nuclear facilities and key infrastructure. Both sides could engage in acts of sabotage, such as targeting oil facilities, transportation networks, and industrial sites to cripple each other's economic capabilities. Overall, if the war truly takes its maximum shape, and even accounting for all the other players involved, the conflict would involve high-intensity military exchanges using advanced technology and sophisticated tactics, with the potential for significant destruction and regional destabilization. Bureau Report, India Today.
And big story coming in from Pakistan, where Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, former Director General of Pakistan's ISI, has been arrested by the Pakistan Army. Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, remember, is considered very close to Imran Khan, former Prime Minister of Pakistan. Faiz Hamid was also the Bahawalpur Corps commander. One image of General Faiz Hamid that had gone viral was that image that you see on your television screen, where the then DG ISI was at the Serena Hotel in Kabul after Taliban took over and the Americans left Afghanistan. At that time, this was hailed as a diplomatic and a military coup of sorts by the Pakistan Army in Afghanistan. But a couple of years down the line, Faiz Hamid has now been arrested by the Pakistan Army, allegedly for massive corruption. The former DG ISI had actually sent Pakistan's ISI and Rangers to arrest a top developer, a builder in Pakistan. Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid had sent the Rangers to the office of top city developers in Pakistan, and Pakistan's notorious spy agency, the ISI, with Faiz Hamid at the helm of affairs, was accused of stealing money, stealing gold and diamond ornaments from this top Pakistani builder. According to his complaint, which was made to courts in Pakistan, went all the way to Supreme Court of Pakistan, General Faiz Hamid refused to return 400 tolas of gold, 400 tolas of gold and crores in cash. Pakistan Supreme Court then had to direct the Pakistan Army to take stringent action against Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, and now there will be a field general court-martial against General Faiz Hamid for bringing disrepute to Pakistan's army and ISI. I quickly want to cut across to India Today's Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan, joining us for more on this big development. Geeta, what more can you tell us about Faiz Hamid's arrest? And will certain political leaders and other army officers who were seen as part of Imran Khan's coterie, will they also be in the line of fire now?
Right, Gaurav, it is historic in many ways than one, because never has Pakistan tried an ex-spy master. This is the first time that a case has been put up against a former spy chief of the intelligence services in Pakistan. The allegations are very serious. This is after he took an early retirement. But the case also comes up because of the order of the Supreme Court of 8th November 2023, wherein after a builder raised or alleged corruption by Lieutenant General Hamid, that this case was put up, and then the order passed that the Pakistani military, given that he was a serving officer, will have to look into the allegations, and hence allegations were looked into. It took a while, and now he has been arrested. He will be tried and then charged if found guilty. So these are serious allegations against him of corruption, of extortion, of forcing people to pay because of his station and his position. We will again have to wait and see how this really pans out. But remember, this is the very same man, Gaurav, who was seen smiling in Kabul the day Kabul fell. A man who has not just orchestrated many problems to the advantage of Pakistan, but has also been key in what transpired and happened in Afghanistan. So today, it's not about the geopolitics of it, but plain corruption case against Lieutenant General Hamid, and we'll have to see what the military court really does in terms of the charges and allegations against him, wherein the court has said that the military courts ought to, or the military ought to investigate the matter.
Okay. Geeta, keep tracking that story for the moment. Many thanks. So from the turmoil that's taking place on India's western borders, let's now shift focus to what's happening along India's eastern borders in Bangladesh, a country reeling from violent upheaval that turned into a brutal assault on the Bangladeshi minority Hindu community in India's neighborhood. Now, there was widespread arson, assault, murder, and sacred temples were desecrated. Law enforcement agencies still struggle to protect minority Hindus. India Today's Ashutosh Mishra is our man on ground, and he's taken grave risks to bring you this report from the epicenter of this crisis as Hindus across the world unite to say enough is enough.
A nation grappling with a violent regime change and the deadly aftermath. Which has seen orgy of violence sweeping through Bangladesh. Its minority Hindu population facing deadly attacks, arson, assault and murder. India Today reached Jamaat stronghold Meherpur, where the local ISKCON temple was burnt. Holy book of Bhagavad Gita burnt, idols smashed and charred. Portraits of deities vandalized. The survivors narrate stories of horror.
All of a sudden, the mob on 5th, when they came all over to vandalize and to destruct the properties. Look at this. These are all the footprints. These are the exclusive images. India Today, the first channel, is bringing you this report from the bordering areas and the bastion of the Jamaat Islami, where largely the extremist organizations carry out their activities. And on the day when in Dhaka, when we say the situation is coming to normalcy in Dhaka, when the protesters were carrying out protests, it engaged into the violence. Here the extremist element, literally ransacked the entire temple premises. All I see, the holy books, Bhagavad Gita, literally burned down. And, you really cannot find out what all the holy books, the religious books, all are kept here. Somehow the followers are still coming and trying to take whatever they could, whatever is left over in this violence. These are the holy books, the prayer books of the ISKCON group, everything has been burned down.
5 तारीख के पहले जो 5 बजे लगभग 5 से 5:30 बजे इधर से वो लोग आक्रमण पहले शुरू किया। आप देखते हैं इधर जो ईट जो स्टोन और पेट्रोल का बम है वो निक्षेप करने के लगा।
पेट्रोल बम लेकर के आए थे।
पेट्रोल बम, गोला बारूद और बहुत कॉकटेल भी, ग्रेनेड भी के लेके आया हमारा जो मंदिर तोड़ने के लिए, ध्वंस करने के लिए। इसके बाद हम मंदिर पे लगभग 16 आदमी थे मंदिर पे।
एक बांग्लादेशी हिंदू, और देखिए सब कुछ जला दिया गया है, कमरे के भीतर हम हैं।
Similar ghastly attacks were witnessed by members of the local Hindu community.
What you see right behind me is a property, literally, well-doing family, lawyer for 5 generations, Mr. Bhattacharya. The family was in Japan, and the mob, right after burning the temple, vandalizing the temple, they came here in the property and they burned down everything. All I see, the family members here, the holy Bhagavad Gita, the religious book that I see in my hand. You see, the things have been literally, this is how they literally targeted the Hindu families. There have been loot, there have been destruction of the properties, and these images are the documentary evidence that in remote areas, all we see only the reports from Dhaka. In fact, the Western media also saying everything about Dhaka remains calm, the situation is restoring to normalcy. But it was not only limited to Dhaka as far as the violence in engaging in atrocities against the minorities are concerned. Largely it happened in the remote areas. So you go to west, you go to south of Bangladesh, you go to northwest of Bangladesh, all these places. And remember, there are often advisors, if you speak to the people, they will always say that probably it could not be safe for a media persons to go and report from these areas. We travel literally 275 kilometers to reach to this place and bring you these reports that how the violence and the properties were looted.
The cops who should save the minorities are themselves vulnerable. It has now been left to the army to shield cops.
India today is at ground zero in Bangladesh, and as I travel towards the bordering areas where the situation remains to be tensed, the most concerning image that I see, the police and police station being protected by the Bangladeshi army. Right behind me you see there's a police station, the Meherpur police station, and right here is the headquarter. So the Meherpur police headquarter, where eventually the police personals are not locked, but they cannot go outside. Ever since the violence started, the police persons also fear threat to their life. But what I see here is a police station, and the police forces are being guarded and protected by the Bangladeshi army.
Hindus in Bangladesh are now hitting the streets, staging protests in multiple Bangladesh cities against a genocidal attack which has been ignored by the global community. With Ashutosh Mishra in Meherpur, Bangladesh, Bureau Report, India Today.
That is all I have for you on this India First special broadcast. Many thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today. Stay with us.